So this is a video introducing you guys to the Bell Studio. This is my art studio. So, I finally got moved in here 2 days ago. Essentially, this is my bedroom turned into my art studio. So, there she is. Hi, baby. Okay, come on. She just ate breakfast, so she is a happy camper. Anyways, this is my work area, or where I paint. I painted this picture yesterday. Hopefully that comes up. All the pictures on the wall in here I painted. I actually have paintings down here. They're either projects that I still, that I started, never finished, or they're just canvases I'm gonna gesso over and paint another picture on them. So, and sometimes I do that with some of the paintings that I hang, unless I finish them, like this one. I actually finished that, so it's got a gloss finish on it. I won't do anything else with that. But if I keep them and don't finish them, then they're subject. I never finished that one because I still need to paint the corners in. But anyways, yeah, I'm that guy. So usually my theme with art is it's in the moment. It's, and I talk about that a lot. Just vlogging. This whole thing is new to me. So having cameras and doing all that, videotaping, everything is new to me. So while I understand light to a degree, when I'm painting and when I'm doing those things, actually associating that right off the bat could take a little bit. It could be a little bit of a learning curve for an artist. I just trusted my instinct as far as flipping switches on and using lamps and thought, oh yeah, no, that'll work. But then, looking at it back, of course, it looked incredible. But as your eye grows, and it's just like with art, and this is what's interesting is that it'll grow, so and it'll get more fine tuned the more you use the skill. Anyway, back to just the tour of the studio, and we'll talk more about that stuff in other settings. So anyway, here's my couch. I love sitting on this thing. Bella loves this thing. This is her Big Joe. Got that from a local vendor, and yeah, she loves it. All my cats, loved it. So she's the only baby I have at home still. So anyway, and then I have an art book collection. Some of the things that I really find useful, like colors, just mixing colors and stuff like that, is pretty helpful to have. That kind of stuff, or like a recipe book. And then just techniques, books on techniques, color pencils. I work in different mediums, so um, I like to not only support other artists. I actually follow this person on Facebook as well. So, and she does a lot of great work. I mean, she's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Yeah. Anyways, and then over here, it's just more stuff. So, starting out as an artist when I was 5 years old, it was just pencil. I didn't use color. I didn't understand color at all. In fact, I was that kind of an artist all the way up until probably my mid-30s. Once color came in, and it came in the form of color pencil, which down here, these are the color pencils I sort of graduated to. I found that Prismacolor was just fine. It was rich. But shortly after the wax bloom, and it was probably my style, but I'd go real heavy with it. I would burnish the paper real well. And I use Stonehenge. So this is kind of my paper collection of different things I use for different projects. Um, but I would burnish really hard with Prismacolor, and I noticed that the wax bloom was really, really terrible just a short while after doing that. So Prismacolor, if you're doing something you're gonna keep, don't you know burnish the paper. I would suggest go lighter, and you won't have that issue. I would assume, but I don't. I, yeah, when I'm using color pencils and I have that kind of control, I try to go for realism, photorealism. So I use Caran d'Ache, Derwent, and Faber-Castell on. Caran d'Ache, probably my favorite. Right next to Faber-Castell. Derwent's okay. They're right up there. They're right up there, so they definitely have a place in there too. So, three favorite um, to use. Anyways, just more art supplies. So, and I do different techniques. So I'll use Camsel, over my color pencil stuff. And Zest, I actually had to buy that out of country. Um, Airbrush cleaner for my airbrush because I work in airbrushing. And, just cool supplies. Things that, an artist can use to do different projects. Cut paper, perfect. I like putting puzzles together, so I have puzzle glue, and I can use that puzzle glue for a lot of different things because of how it dries. It dries clear. So, just I'm a big fan of using anything and everything. Um, doesn't matter. So I have a projector here, a cheap projector I use to cast images um, onto a canvas if I'm doing that. So sometimes I do it to make it a quicker project. So and this is essentially something I mix my paint with. Sometimes I don't get to my paint in a while, or I'm using heavy acrylic and I want to really water it down. I will use something like this with a couple magnetic um, pieces, toss it in the bottom of the paint, and then this will churn it up. So tape, all that kind of stuff. I call that pretty essential for what I do. I like painting. So this is my airbrush studio. So I run an Iwata. That's the only brush I've ever used. The first one I've ever tried. And I gotta tell you, I mean, I'm enjoying learning with it. So there's not much of a learning curve. What I've noticed with airbrush is that it's fast. So I like that. I'll talk about that another time. But these are my brushes. I use brushes sometimes, and these are my favorite brushes. I have a host of brushes down there as well. But these are the ones I mainly use. These are the really good ones, so I enjoy using. Um, this is a backpack that Bella rides in when we ride our e-scooter. A couple different helmets I'll wear. That one's safer than that one. But this one allows me to wear my AirPods really easy, so I tend to use it more often. Let's see. You know what? I'm showing you guys this studio, kind of like how I do my art. I can never stay in one place. I always have to bounce around because that's how moments come to my mind and ideas and stuff. It's just the same thing. So here's my air compressor for my airbrush. So I just have it tied on here onto the post. It's tied securely. That way I can monitor exactly how much airbrush is going to my actual gun um, and stuff. So anyway, it runs pretty good. I stand when I paint. I don't sit. So you won't see a chair here. I guess I can go ahead and say to that versus a chair. And this is where I've noticed in a short amount of time because drawing and all that stuff, I do sitting down. So, but standing up when you're painting, you just have more body movement available. So it affects everything. It affects how the painting looks, your strokes, and everything. So this painting, particularly, what I did was I started out. It was just a chest-out canvas. So I come over here to my canvases and frames, just collection stuff. But I'll use this canvas. I think it's what is it, 45.7 by 61 centimeters. So it's a good size, it's a decent size canvas. It's not huge. 18 inches by 24 inches. So what I do to prep this canvas is I certainly had an idea in mind. I wanted to do a tree, but I wanted to do something with outer space too. Um, so I compromised. What I did was I started out with certain colors, just a few colors, some blues, reds, blacks, whites. I think there was some orange in there. Just a just a good transition from blues to reds. So of colors, maybe 5 or 6 colors, not a lot. And I didn't use the white at first. So what I would do is I would put the dots of the different colors, randomly. It wasn't specific, and then I would brush it out. And I painted a lot of houses, so I can tell you how to get good brush strokes and how to get your paint around. So this is a brush I use. It's not a huge brush. Doesn't need to be because the canvas isn't that big. It's not like I'm trying to paint a wall. Anyway, I'd use this brush to get all those mounds of paint smeared across my canvas, pre-gessoed canvas in my hand. But so I get this, nice transition, of colors. So after doing that, then I would add the white before the acrylic would dry, while the rest of it's still pretty damp. It's in, where I want it, and I want the brush strokes from the top to the bottom even. I don't want it all crazy or anything. I want to try to go as well as I can. Like I said, I used to paint houses, so sort of where I get that. Um, but once that's done, then I'll dab some white in different areas, and then I'll just streak it, kind of like you see here, the effect here. That's just from white, you know, little dabs of white. So you won't see a lot of it here because I actually smoked that in with some black with an airbrush, because I smoked around with white with an airbrush. So anyways, that's how I build the painting, and then I have the foreground as sharp as possible. And I kind of like the smooth, smoky transition back here. There's still stuff I'd like to do to this. I'd like to fill this maybe a little more. But anyway, that's my mind. But that's just paint. So this is my airbrush, and I really love airbrushing because it's way fast. And that's when I noticed the difference between that and pencil and acrylic paint. I just kept stepping up to the fastest medium I could get my mind through, because everything's always moving. And that's the way people are. People are that way. They take their social media in that way too. So cinematography, or videography, is new to me. So that's where the GVM light comes in here. At a video 11, I figured I needed to get some lighting. Yeah, because my lights weren't cutting it. It was real grainy and stuff like that. So this is a 660 Neewer Pro 2. So, and they're both the budget light. Like, I can't, those are lights. So, and this would just be like a background light. And I studied lights. So I think that was important. I needed to study how other people perceived it and see if I couldn't agree with that. And I absolutely did. I was like, wow, I can't believe I was missing that. And that's the great thing about people, is that, where you can communicate like that and learn from each other. So that's what I did with the lighting. And I come over here and I just have gadgets, like this is a drone and this is my DJI mini mic set that I'm using right now. That's where the audio is coming from. So, and then here is just my tool shed that I tie to the back of my e-scooter, which is a Mahalo F15 dual hub. I think it's 2,800 watts to the hubs, to each hub. So it's, or something like that. But anyway, it'll go, pretty quick, real quick. So I enjoy that. It gets me and Bella to the park so she can have breakfast down there sometimes when it's nice, and we can vlog about things. But that's why I wanted to get this studio hooked up, because I knew that it's getting wintertime and I love painting. So, and this space is inspiring to me. So I painted that yesterday, just after everything was done here. I felt it. And it's an overwhelming feeling sometimes. You just have to get up and do it. And the thing is if I don't finish it, that's where it ends up. If I don't fulfill the moment and finish it in one session, that's where it ends up. Because once that moment's gone and gone through, that's what I've realized, with color especially, is that it's gone. I mean, your painting's going to look different if it's ever going to turn out. So I have to do it all in one setting, and it's strange because I do a lot of things in one setting like that. Like the more I read in one setting, the more I'll comprehend the overall book. Just different things. Notice those different things in life. So I have a couple Delta Pros. This is for my uninterruptible power source. It also doubles as money saver for like the summer and stuff. So I'll put a double watt voltage connector on there so I can run my 240 split out in my apartment, out in the living room. And it does just fine. And I have 4 solar panels that I use. So during the hottest part of the day, I find that I can use the air conditioner just long enough, an hour and a half, 2 hours to cool it down. And then my batteries will be charged up enough. They'll last overnight and be able to charge them up enough the next day to be able to run that air conditioner again. And if it's an overcast day or whatever, and I'm not getting any clouds to charge up my batteries, not too worried about it. That also means that it's not going to be that hot and I'm not going to have to run my air conditioner. Anyways, it saves money. It really does. I ain't playing. Maybe not initially because, the batteries cost a little bit, but they're great. And I come in here and use them for this kind of stuff too. So I've had power shut off and never miss a beat. So anyways, and I can hook my fridge up to it, all that. Yeah, down there, just office stuff. So here I have a couple chargers down below, and that's to charge my e-bike. So I'll pull the e-bike in here after one of me and Bella's adventures and charge it up. This table here is essentially an all workstation. It's nice because it's on wheels, and the wheels do lock if you choose to do that. I like it to roam. And I can put my paintings down here when I'm framing, or when I'm like this. When I was done with this, I was able to have a flat surface other than the table here. When I was taking it off the easel to put it. Anyway, great little utility table. Can hold, stencils. Oh, what the heck? But yeah, a lot of different things. Yep. So that is the art studio, man. Couch, all that kind of stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, down here I have this is an air purifier from Honeywell. I'll run that while I'm painting, just to keep the fumes down. This is all acrylic, even the ink, so it's less obtrusive than the oil, all the way around. And I chose acrylic because of my babies, my pets, all that kind of stuff. And when I am painting, I will open this window. It's dark out. Well, no, it's starting to get light. But I'll open this window and set the fan in the window and run the air out of there for exhaust. So, anyways, that is the studio, guys and gals. Hope you enjoyed this. I mean, I have a curve monitor here. I run a MacBook Pro, that kind of thing. So it's great for what I do. So before this, I was, before I had a lot of time on my hands. Not that I haven't. I was going through programs for front-end web development and AI developer courses, IT stuff, so software engineering stuff. And what I find is I love this part of my life, my daily life. So the other part, is learning. So I love to learn. I love learning new things. The moment never waits, so I don't either. Every frame, every breath with Bella reminds me, art isn't what we make, it's what we notice before it's gone. The world's always moving just like we are. I'm just here trying to catch the light before it changes me, Bella, and the road ahead. I've learned the moment never repeats itself. That's what makes it art. Every sunrise, every sound, every ride, It's all part of one story still being written. Moments fade fast, but if you live slow enough, you catch them. That's what I chase with Bella every ride, every frame. As the light shifts and the moment moves on, that's where you'll find us. Just me, Bella, freedom in every moment. That's freedom.